It's time to get ready for round 2 of the European Rally Championship in 2025. After the tarmac of Rally Sierra Morena, a brand new event for 2025, we have something a bit more familiar. Last year's season opener, Rally Hungary, is up next. And to start off with, whilst Rally Hungary itself has been on the European circuit for a while now, it's only the second year of it being a full gravel event, the first edition being last year's season opener in the ERC. For those of you that are coming across the WRC, think of it a bit like Rally Poland or Latvia from last year, or potentially even Estonia. Especially because of the wooded sections, it's quite high speed, but can be quite treacherous with lots of woodland and things like tree stumps or banks lining the stages. We saw people crashing out of the last stages of last year who were right up at the top of the field. And we'll start off talking about the field. There's a 93 strong entry list over the course of Rally 2, Rally 3, Rally 4, Rally 5, and a couple of non-Rally Pyramid entries as well. Starting off with Rally 2, and Rupa Korhonen is going to be the number 1 seed coming into the event. Nikolai Gryshin, who is the championship leader and absolutely dominated Sierra Morena, is not running a full campaign. He's only scheduled to do 5 of the 8 events this season, which means that we will see an MRF shod Rupa Korhonen in a Toyota GR Yaris Rally 2 leading us away. Andrea Mabellini will be the 2nd seed on a Pirelli shod Skoda Fabia, whilst the 3rd seed will be a Michelin shod Skoda Fabia RS Rally 2 for Miko Marcek. Then after that, we have Mads Ostberg, Michelin shod Citroen, Jakub Batulka, who's in a Michelin shod Fabia, and Roberto Blasch, who's in a Pirelli shod Fabia. After that, we have Jos Verstappen as the 7th seeded entry, Andras Hardek in the leading Fiesta entry, followed by John Armstrong with the M Sport team. After that, we'll have Tempestini in a Fabia, Dominik Szczytecki, who is behind the wheel of a Fabia, Laszlo Martin, Philip Allen, Jarosław Kotun, and Norbert Herzig, all in Fabia RS Rally 2s as well. With, I believe it's Colton, who is with the team that Gryshin's been running with, J2X. Martin Vlček will be in a Hyundai for Cowex DST Racing, as will Dariusz Biedrzyński. Though, interestingly enough, according to the entry list, whilst Vlček is in Pirellis, Biedrzyński is going to be running on Michelins. Friesz Turkran, who I believe was somebody who had previously run in the WRC, scored points in Rally Bulgaria in a 307, I believe, is going to be in a Fabia. Mikos Shomos, who we've seen a few times here and there on the ERC circuit, with Attila Nai alongside, will be in an MRF C3. We'll also have Max Becray in an MRF C3. Isaac Rierson, Norbert Meyer with Francesca Meyer. Now, the Meyer siblings are a wonderful competitive duo. They won the ERC4 2 years ago and were competing in the Junior WRC last season. We will also have Bogdan Zuma, Gabor Nemet. Now, the Meyers are in a Citroen. Zuma and Nemet are in Fabias. Antal Kovacs in a i20. Then we go through the rest of the Rally 2. Sasa is in a Rally 2 Evo Fabia, a previous generation one. Miklos Boudos is in an RS Rally 2, whilst David Tomac and Tomasz Okiepa are going to be in Rally 2 Evos. Andrea Schambeck is in a Fiesta Rally 2, whilst Thibaut Toff is in a Fabia Rally 2. Laszlo Bodolai is going to be behind the wheel of a Fiesta. Then we have Ridge Trzeni in a Fabia Rally 2, whilst Josef is going to be in a Fabia RS. Peter Osvaf in a Fabia Rally 2 Evo, whilst Zoltan Laszlo is going to be behind the wheel of M Sport Fabia RS Rally 2, confusingly entered under the entry of M Sport Racing KFT. Then we have 2 original R5 Fabias for Laszlo Berta and Zoltan Modos. Overall, that is 38 Rally 2s. When it comes to Rally 3s in the ERC3, we again have a lot of people entering the M Sport Fiesta Rally 3 trophy, but also have a handful of Clios. The leading entries, the leading 5 are all Fiestas. Tristan Charpentier is going to be the lead one, followed by Adrian Zheznik, Timoteus Abranovsky, Martin Ravenchak, and Igor Vidwak. Now, some of these names we've seen in the ERC before, some of them you will have seen in the WRC before, the likes of Charpentier, Igor Vidwak, Martin Ravenshak as well, who competed in his home rally, Rally Croatia, last season. Then after that, a couple of familiar names in the Clio Rally 3s, Fuba Kowalczyk and Sebastian Batinsky. Whilst then, we have Casey J. Coleman in a Fiesta, Błażej Gazda behind the wheel of a Renault Clio, Adam Gran behind the wheel of a Fiesta, as we will also have for Martin Bertalan. Then we have Ville Vatanen behind the wheel of a Renault Clio, Isma Arnoldult behind the wheel of a Fiesta, and Timo Weigert behind the wheel of a Clio Rally 3, co-driven by Jasmin Weigert. So we've got another family connection in the Rally 3 class. Now, perhaps confusingly, RC4 and RC5, Rally 4 and Rally 5 cars, or two-wheel drives, are both eligible for the ERC Junior and the ERC4 classes. So I'll try and get through both of them in one hit. I might take a little bit of a break between the Rally 4s and Rally 5s. But I'm going to lead off with this. Lancia are back in rallying, and we heard confirmation last year of the Lancia Ypsilon Rally 4 HF being homologated for 2025. This is going to be its first regional level championship appearance at Rally Hungary, and it is going to be for a variety of different entrants, but the two that will stand out are Jasper Vaar for Team Estonia Autosport and Tuukka Kauppinen. Tuukka Kauppinen, the person who won Arctic Lapland Rally in a Rally 2 Toyota, ahead of Carlo Ripera in a Rally 1 Toyota, is going to be driving for Lancia. Now, we've got this whole vision of kind of Juha Kankkunen, right? Or Markku Alén, you know, a Finnish star coming up with Lancia. Isn't that cool to hear the Lancia name back on the stages? I'm really looking forward to that. But we'll go through in terms of seeded entries as well. So Sergei Perez Jr., who won the first round of Rally Sierra Morena, is going to be back. Unsurprisingly, is the top seeded Rally 4. Likewise, second place Kalle Karlberg is going to be the second seed. Then we have Jasper Vaar in the lead Lancia, which means that we have three different manufacturers as the top three. All three still the Stellantis group though, so they are similar cars at the very least underneath. Followed by Craig Rahill, Ewan Lloyd, Tommaso Sandrin, and Matteo Doretto, who are all in Peugeots. Then we have Luca Proglov, who is behind the wheel of a Corsa, Victor Hansen in a 208, Maxim de Kock in a Corsa, Keelan Grogan in a Peugeot for Motorsport Ireland Rally Academy, Mark Egertitz behind the wheel of a Fiesta, Aoife Raftery behind the wheel of a 208, not Motorsport Ireland back this time. She is, I believe, this season with HRT Racing. Kevin Lempu is going to be behind the wheel of a Fiesta. Timo Schultz, a Corsa. Francesco De Cecchi, a Peugeot 208. Levi Lassala behind the wheel of a Corsa. Like I said, Tuukka Kauppinen in the number 61 behind the wheel of a Lancia. Christian Sugar behind the wheel of a Corsa, Minea Hanea behind the wheel of a 208, the same team as Aoife Raftery. Then we have Tom Geiser behind the wheel of a 208 and Norman Kruter behind the wheel of another 208. That is the last for the people who were entered at ERC4. In terms of national entries, we also have Andre Ravanogli behind the wheel of a 208, as is Shaba Viswo, Dorka Zagiva and Josef Hibian, as well as Shushan Bar. Whilst we'll also have a Fiesta for Matthias Ney and Corsa for Balázs Karek. In the RC5s, we already have one entry. It's Artur Luca, who is behind the wheel of a Clio Rally 5, and like I said, is entered for Junior ERC and ERC4. The Rally 5's less performance than Rally 4, so don't expect a massive amount of competitiveness from the Rally 5 machinery relative to Rally 4, but obviously can still be competitive. Now, like I said, I will go through the entries that are not at the Rally Pyramid, starting off with a Citroen C3 WRC for Robert Butto. Now, Butto has competed with this Citroen C3 WRC, one of the WRC 2017 spec cars, for I think a couple of years now. But obviously won't be eligible for points in the ERC because the World Rally cars no longer are on the FIA ladder. But we will also have a variety of other entries that fall outside of it. For example, we have a Rally GT car. Rally GTs don't tend to run on gravel, they tend to run on tarmac, but Tomas Rafael will be running a 997 GT3 Cup car from Porsche. We'll also have Saab Apahi running a Ford Fiesta Proto. What that means is he's essentially probably done a rally kit car kind of thing. So may have a WRC engine or Rally 2 engine, but we'll also have, for example, more trick aerodynamics. I haven't seen this car, so I don't know for certain what it looks like. We will then also have a variety of different larders entered. We have VFTSs for Frank Bogadan and Gabor Hulman, Shikar, Miklosnay Gabor, or Gabor Miklosnay. Sorry, that's a Lada Vaz 2107. The other VFTSs are Sandor Takani, Zoltan Vereb, and Gabor Gax. Whilst the other entry that I haven't mentioned yet is Karl Rumpler, who is behind the wheel of a Lancer Evo 5. And now let's talk through the stages. We are going to have the Shakedown and a Super Special Stage 1 on the Friday, before we have 2 full days of competitive action over the Saturday and Sunday. Starting off with Friday's action, we have the qualifying stage, and I should have apologised in advance, my Hungarian's pretty bad. For those of you who want to know how bad it is, when I tried learning Hungarian, I accidentally said somebody was Hungarian Hezki Weekend, which for those of you who will know, if you speak the language, is Czech. I also said it on a Tuesday, so didn't really help out. But Heimasker will be the qualifying stage and the Shakedown. The qualifying stage means they pick the road order, so it's not necessarily championship order, though typically the people at the head of the championship will be picking their order for it. You'll probably want to be running something like 5th or 6th on the road on the Saturday stages, just so you have some cleaning, but before the stages get properly rutted. And the stage can rut quite a lot for the gravel tests in Hungary. Again, like I said earlier, think of Rally Poland. Then we will be leading off with the Super Special stage, which I will try to pronounce. Kiral Shentistvan. 2.05 kilometers. It has been part of the Shakedown before. It was last year. It was also the Super Special that opened the rally last year as well. Just over a lap for the competitors to go through. Super Special, I believe it is still a head-to-head, which is pretty cool to see. It's nice to see these things at different levels of rallying, and they're not just reserved for the WRC. Going into Saturday's test, the opener is Hegiezd, which is going to be more or less unchanged from last season, slightly longer at the end of the stage, going from 15.3 kilometers up to 18.75. He'll also open the afternoon loop of stages. Then stages 3 and 6 is the Kizolta test, 25.8 kilometers, lots and lots of speed changes from high speed to low speed, lots of twisty sections and some changes in elevation as well. Not as extreme as, say, for example, Rally Isla Canaria, which you just see in the WRC. It has also been in the ERC last year, and I believe it's actually slightly shorter than last year, down from 27.4 Ks to 25.8 Ks of test. Whilst the third stage on Saturday and the third stage of Eva Loop as a result is Varpalta, which is 8.75 kilometers. It's a bit of a hybrid of the first 2 stages of the loop. It's slightly shorter at 8.75 kilometers. It featured in last year's edition as well in the opposite direction, and was at 8.4 kilometers. I believe the difference is it's slightly longer at the start of it to where the end of the stage was last year, and there's a couple of chicanes put in just to break up the momentum and add a bit more of a technical challenge. Opening up the loops of Sunday is the Ishka test, 15.34 kilometers. It is more or less unchanged from last year. Runs in the same direction. A little bit of changes at the end in that it goes through a slightly different junction in the spectator section, but it is more or less unchanged from 2024. It even is officially listed as having the same stage length. Then we have the TES test, which we saw last year as well. I believe that's where we saw a lot of the incidents towards the end of the rally. Not, for example, the power stage puncher the Hayden pattern had, but we had some of the leading drivers getting unstuck, clipping ruts or banks and crashing out of the event as a result. 10.25 kilometers, and it is another one that is unchanged from last year, except this one I believe is pretty much completely unchanged. A couple of spectator zones. It twists through the forest. It can get a bit dusty, get a bit rutted. So people who are running later in the order, which will be the people up at the top of the overall standings, could find themselves unstuck very quickly. The final test, stage 13 and stage 10, is Nailuta. I believe it uses part of the shakedown. I can't see according to rally maps what the actual route looks like, but it is listed at 15.54 kilometers. Last year's test was 18.5 kilometers, so it might cut out the bits that were used in the shakedown last year and just run through the forest. It could be rapid, but like I said, Hayden Panner got a puncher last year, so it is by no means just a high-speed test. You do have to look for some car preservation as well. Now, in terms of ones to watch, you might want to put your money on Simone Tempestini, given that he won last year. But last year was a different game altogether. Whilst we are still talking to Fabia, he wasn't on MRF tyres. Tyres can make a massive difference. We've seen that with Carlo Rosberg in the WRC. So it could be that we see a change because of him now running MRF tyres. Likewise, last year, second place was Matthew Franceschi, who is in the WRC this season doing WRC2, so we're not going to see him, so we can't expect a similar second place. Third place is Miklos Shomos, who was behind the wheel of a Fabia rallying to Evo. I don't believe that Shomos is going to be running the same car again this year. So, yeah, he's on a C3 Rally 2 with MRF tyres. It could be a lot more open. Rupa Korhonen is going to be the top seed, but that doesn't necessarily mean too much. Miko Marchik has been brilliant in Poland and Latvia before. I think he ran into issues with reliability last year, which put him aside. But Matt Osberg could be looking to do really well with Torstein Eriksson alongside. He won Rally Hungary when it was the final round of the 2023 season. Now, like I said, that was technically a tarmac event, though it was also in practice mixed surface. So this one is actually pretty wide open. The form book is more or less out the window. The people that were competitive last year have had so many changes to their circumstances from year on year that they might not necessarily be as competitive. It's a change of equipment even if the stages are staying the same. In Rally 4 as well, do not expect the Lancia Ypsilon to be out of the box competitive. Even though they've got competitive drivers behind the wheels of them, it could be that this brand new car has some teething issues. They'll only really find out once it's being turned all the way up to 11 on a European Championship event. Though I would say, keep an eye out for the front runners and the top seats in the Rally 3 class. They are generally the quicker people, though people further down the order, like for example Kowalczyk and Patinsky, have been competitive before in the Clios, so don't believe that it's just going to be for domination. But either way, those are my thoughts, those are my feelings. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. As always, thank you so much for watching and joining, folks. Let me know what you think about this. I do slightly longer format previews now for WRC and ERC events. And a slight difference with this one is that I'm standing up as I'm talking. Usually I sit down, but I felt like standing up to see if there is any kind of difference in how I put this all together when I was standing compared to sitting. So if you did notice a difference, if you prefer it over my normal type of content, do let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, it's bye-bye for now.